Congratulations! You just found out your happily ever after is expanding. It's super exciting news and a major moment in your life. Your emotions are like an overfull blender with no lid on liquefy. You're trying to read your wife's emotions and contend with your own all at the same time. And the good news is, whether you vocalize it or not, you and your spouse are actually worried about mostly the same things. You're having the same feelings and concerns. You just haven't necessarily vocalized it. Well, on today's episode of the Fallible Man Podcast, we're going to cover 3 areas, count them, 1, 2, 3, that you need to process now that you know you're pregnant and that you're going to be a dad. There are areas you need to process now that you're armed with this amazing news to be the father you want to become. So let's get into it. Here's the $1 million question. How do men like us reach our full potential, growing to the men we dream of becoming while taking care of our responsibilities, working, living, being good husbands, fathers, and still take care of ourselves? Well, that's the big question. And in this podcast, we'll help you with those answers and more. My name is Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast. We're going to break this episode up into 3 distinct areas for you to process, guys. As a father to be, for you to feel more confident and more prepared. That is our goal for this episode. Each one of these areas builds on the other. Now, as a father, I've gone down this road and I know what I know now, plus what I wish people had told me before. And so that's what I'm cluing you in on today. We're not actually going to dive in much past the hospital trip. I mean, maybe the first couple of days, but really this is all before the baby comes and the first couple of days. I have other episodes for you on starting when the baby gets home, and I'll be sure and link those below as well. But I've got lots of fatherhood, new father videos for you guys for when you get home. But this is the time leading up to that. By the way, my name's Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for all things man. A big shout out to Fallible Nation. You guys just helped us. This is episode 301, and because of the Fallible Nation, that's our longtime listeners, this is episode 301. We just celebrated a huge anniversary, so thank you guys for that. And a warm welcome to our first-time listeners. Hey, there's a lot competing for your attention out there, and I'm aware of that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for checking us out, giving us a chance. Be sure and connect with me at the Fallible Man most places. I'm especially active on Instagram, and you can find exclusive content there and connect with me. You can DM me and tell me, hey, your show sucks, or hey, I really enjoyed this. Thanks for the show. Whatever you feel like doing, but let's get on with the show, shall we? Now, section 1, guys, that I really want to cover is fears. I was having a conversation the other day. I was actually on a fatherhood podcast called Fathers with Daughters, or Dads with Daughters. I think it's the Dads with Daughters podcast that I was on discussing being a dad. And one of the things we dove into was fears, and it's not something that we've talked about a lot on this channel. So I wanted to share with you guys because they brought it fresh to mind. And this is something really important that all dads have to contend with. And let me be really, really clear on that, gentlemen. All fathers have fears about being a father. It's not just you. It's not some freak thing. Like, legitimately, all fathers have fears, whether they vocalize them or not. The biggest fear is number 1, I'm not enough. Now, I'm not enough comes in a lot of flavors, like good enough, wealthy enough, smart enough, mature enough, old enough, far enough in my career. It's also, I'm not ready. Guys, I waited 11 years to have children. The first 3 years were intentional because my wife and I wanted to get settled, but I ended up waiting 8 years past that time that we had initially planned on because I wasn't enough. I wasn't ready. I didn't have enough stuff. I wasn't far enough in my career. And what I've learned is you'll never be enough in your own eyes, because no matter where you're at, you'll always be inspired to be better and more for your children. So let me say this clearly and see if I can calm your fears. You are enough for the moment, and you will become even more very, very, very quickly. Pro tip, Your wife is wondering the same thing about herself as far as being a mother. Is she ready? Is she enough? She's having the same questions. So if you can find a gentle way to bring up this uncomfortable conversation, it's actually really good for both of you to be able to have this conversation and share these concerns. It's a bonding thing, not share them like, I can't do it, but share them like, hey, I wonder if I'm good enough for this, or right? Give your wife permission to wonder out loud, and it will do great things for your relationship. So that's a bonus for you guys. Number 2, guys, I don't know how to be a dad. This may be one of the biggest fears people have. They don't out loud vocalize. And maybe it's because you didn't have a great dad. Or maybe you were like most of us and didn't realize all your dad did for you. Maybe you didn't have a, air quotes, dad in the traditional sense. He wasn't there at all. Like, no dad in the picture. He wasn't present. He was always at work or gone. Whatever. No dad ever feels like they know what to do or that they're ready to be a dad. They know how. It's a learning process, and you're going to be great. There's no such thing as a perfect dad or a perfect way to dad. There are really, really powerful skills and choices that you will make and build, but you're already on a good track, Dad. If you're listening to this, it's because you're proactively trying to do something about this fear that you may not have said out loud, but that's a huge start. So you're going to do great. Stop worrying so much. Number 3 fear that we got to cover is, what's this going to do to our relationship? This is a valid fear. If you don't choose to be proactive in your relationship as this starts, you could actually run into a lot of problems. You were just starting to feel pretty good about this whole married life thing, right? You have heard kids kill your sex life, take up all your time, change the dynamics of the relationship, and all of those things are 100% possible. So now is the time to focus on really tuning up your relationship. Get intentional about your relationship. If you saw that in the video, I just did a crazy sign. That wasn't what I was meaning to do. Sometimes my brain and my hands don't talk to each other. Get intentional about your relationship and start with the simple things. If you haven't read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, now's the time. It will apply to your marriage all through this pregnancy, all through the rest of your life, and it will apply to your kids eventually. It's a great starting point, and that is something mentally that you can do for yourself to start subsiding these fears, because you will understand how to communicate love to your wife more effectively if you read that book. It's a great book. I've done a summary of it, but it doesn't do it justice, guys. It's really an easy read, but I promise it will change the way you communicate with your wife forever. Number 4, how do I support my wife through all this? Like, I don't even know what my role is. She's pregnant. What am I supposed to do? All men feel this. What the hell do we know about pregnancy? Guess what? Your wife's actually saying the same thing. Society sadly reinforces this feeling among men and often tells men they don't know or don't belong. And that's a load of crap. You are your wife's number 1 and most important advocate, and you need to get involved. Trust me, from firsthand experience of being in the delivery room with 2 kids with pushy doctors and nurses, it is crucial that you and your wife align on these things. You talk about the pregnancy, you talk about the birth, you talk about how you want things to go, and you plan for it, and you're active and involved. You are your wife's greatest defender and advocate. If you've ever been called to protect your wife, this is the time, because there's going to be a lot of things coming at her during this time period, and it's going to be overwhelming because being pregnant screws with your emotions. So she's already on a yo-yo. Boys, it's time to show up and become men and be the man your wife needs by being her advocate and knowing and being on the same page with her and fighting the fight she doesn't need to. I have 2 episodes linked in the description, specifically digging deeper into this part of the pregnancy with 2 incredible experts, Dr. Nathan Riley and Dr. Kaleb Valdez. Both shows are doctors talking to you about how, as a husband, you can support your wife during this critical 9 months. Check those shows out next. You won't waste time. I promise these are worthwhile, but I'm not going to rehash everything they said because they say it much better and they're much smarter than I am. Number 5, guys. What if I'm a horrible father? Every dad is terrified of being a horrible father. Every dad worries about it, no matter what he says. He may be like, oh yeah, I know, I got this dad thing. He is terrified, and so are you, and that's okay. Maybe you had a bad father. Maybe you are worried about continuing that cycle because you did have a bad dad. Maybe you had no positive father figure, as we mentioned earlier in the show. What if my kids hate me? Maybe you're worried about the ensuing impact on your life, and you feel guilty because you don't want to give up some of the fun you were having. I've heard young fathers say, oh, life is over once you have kids. Well, they're stupid. That's just inexperience talking. Or I lost my 20s and 30s because I had my kids young and I missed out. Guys, let me help you on this. I know you're not going to believe me until much later, but let this reality sink in. Most people, the majority of people, completely waste their 20s and 30s, and they don't know it until much, 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 much later. And you're not going to believe me until much, 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 much later. But being a father in your 20s and 30s is not a waste of that time, because most of what you're going to do in that time was a waste. You're not going to be a horrible father because you're already worried about it enough that you're here proactively doing something about it. And I'm not your last stop on this journey. There will be lots of places you will go to gather information. I have lots of playlists for you guys to check out. Lots of episodes about fatherhood, about being a young father. But you're already here looking, which means you're going to look at other places too. You're on the road to being a great dad. So stop worrying about being a horrible father. And as far as missing out, it's incredibly different than it was in the 1950s. Like, parents take their newborns hiking with awesome, there's some great companies that make great child carriers, and parents are active with these kids these days. And I highly encourage you to do that. That's a good habit, but it's not the end of the world. I guarantee it. Now, section 2, guys, we talked about fears. Okay. Now it's realities that you need to adjust. So we're going to solve some problems before they're actually problems. There are things that are much more difficult to change once you have children. It is still possible. It is. However, there are things that are much more difficult to change. So as a man who likes to fix things anyways, because I know you do, here's a list of what you can control to make this transition better and easier in the long run, not only during the pregnancy, but in the early years of the child and going forward. So, number 1, get organized now. This is the time to straighten up your home. This is the time to get rid of the junk you don't need, use, or want. All that crap that you got piled up. Build a schedule of how things run in your house. What days we need to wash clothes and other chores, as well as build a regular daily routine. Now, that may seem tedious to some people, but trust me, this has a lot of advantage in the back end. Clean up your house and start keeping it at a certain standard of clean. This will help both of you mentally, because clutter is stressful, and you don't want anything adding stress during this time period, I promise. But start keeping your house clean and setting a schedule that keeps it clean and keeps it organized. All those things that you have like that you've talked about. Oh, I want to organize this, or I want to get a shelf and put it here. I want to clean this up, right? I want to do this. It's going to be much harder with kids in the mix. So having all of this in play already will in fact make your life much easier once the child arrives, because now you're not in a dirty house. Now you're not struggling to get organized. Now you're not trying to figure out what a routine is. You have it all done. You're going to have a lot of new stuff in your house anyways once you have a kid. Children are magnets for more junk. So, maybe in hindsight, like honestly, from my point of view, in hindsight, it might be a time to consider embracing minimalism. I have a good friend who embraces minimalism in his life, and I'm starting to see the appeal, because you start to stack stuff even more than you did before you had children. And let's face it, most of us are a half step from a hoarder anyway. We all have junk we don't need. But do this now, and it'll make life so much easier when you bring that child home. Number 2, double down on your marriage. Now, we already addressed the fear of your relationship changing. That is a valid fear, and we said you got to get proactive. But your wife has these fears too. So, as the husband, lead from the front. Get focused on shoring up any concerns or issues in your relationship. Invest deeply in communicating with your spouse. We talked about the 5 love languages. Become so inwardly focused on your marriage that it reminds people of when you were dating. You know, we all have those friends when we were dating, right? That they start dating the new person and we wouldn't see them for months at a time because they were, oh, it's all us, right? That obnoxious, I can't talk. That obnoxious part of the relationship. Well, guys, let's get back inward on that and go back to that obnoxious part of the relationship where you're so focused on your marriage and making sure that it's 100% that people are like, what are you, like, dating? Yes. Keep dating your wife. Consider counseling, marriage classes, seminars, books, podcasts, YouTube videos. My good friends, Oliver and Denise over at the Relationship Trade Secrets podcast have an incredible YouTube channel dedicated to your relationship. It is where I send everybody because it's where I go even after 23 years of marriage. They do great content and it will help you a lot. Do things to take care of your marriage. At a point, your wife will feel less beautiful, desirable, and less seen. So get in front of it. Prioritize your relationship with your wife over your child always, but start the groundwork now through this part of the this part of the pregnancy. Number 3, dream big together. Now is the time to look ahead and dream together. Like, dream big, guys, big about where life is going to go. And with this new positive addition to your family, what that's going to look like and how that's going to change. And you might end up with a 2-story castle in your living room. I did. Make sure you're aligned in your hopes and dreams together. It's so important for both of you to see the same destination and the same future. Then make sure you're setting smart goals and working towards that future together. Most people get derailed with the kid on the way. They become Twitter-pated, if you guys are, I'm dating myself with that word, and unfocused. And that's super unnecessary. What is necessary is that you do this together every 6 months because that vision is going to change some with the kid in the picture. Normally, I would recommend for people to check in on their goals every 6 months, but that bigger vision of what y'all want to be together as a family, you might check in on even more than that. Make this an ongoing conversation with your spouse. Don't lose sight of that future together and those plans, and don't ever stop working on that together. I guarantee it will strengthen your marriage, it will strengthen your family, and it'll help keep both of you in the same direction moving forward as parents and as married people, however you say that. Number 4, guys, build good habits. Learn to meal plan, learn to meal prep. Different thing. Start practicing. Do it now. Start eating better and polishing those cooking skills. Practice eating together and not in front of a screen. Practice putting down your phones and just communicating. Start exercising on a regular schedule. Taking care of your health needs to become a second nature habit, so ingrained that you don't even think about it anymore. You just do it automatically. Self-care is something that all couples struggle with when they add a new member of the family. It's the first thing that gets tossed out the window, and it's something that's incredibly crucial for your mental and physical well-being during this time period when you're bringing a new baby into your life. So build the habits now and make them healthy habits. Do it till you don't ever think about it. You just do it instinctively. You need to start building those habits as soon as you can because it's going to help you a lot once that baby arrives. It won't be us dropping the ball. You'll start, because it's something that you normally do. It's an automatic thing. Your brain will start thinking, how do I maintain this? Because I need to do this, right? And you'll look for those solutions instead of just letting it go. Number 5, get ahead. There are so many options for building ahead to start a better life for your children. Now, most dads, how do I want to say this? Guys, most dads want their children to live a far better life than they did. You want your children to have more, to live bigger, to reach farther. There's absolutely 100% nothing wrong with that. However, and it's been credited to a lot of people, Bruce Lee is the one I see most often credited with it, is don't try and give your kids all the things you didn't have. Teach them all the things you didn't know. That's a very, very valid thing. It's something that's a personal philosophy for me. I try and teach my children stuff that took me half a lifetime to learn. But don't just do that, okay? I want you to build ahead. So start thinking about all those things that you can teach your children to do and start getting in a position to do it. However, that said, I'm also a really, really big fan of actually getting ahead. And so I want to make a suggestion for you. There are so many things you can do as a father to help start your children in a more positive way. And I didn't know most of them. So I want you to be able to do everything you want to do to start them strong. So I'm going to say, check out my episode with Mr. Buildwealth. Yes, that's his nickname, Mr. Buildwealth. And I'll link it below. We had a great episode where he is up on this stuff. I was just along for the ride. He is up on this stuff. I had no idea there were so many things you could do for a kid if you planned ahead. And you can start doing it now before the kid ever gets here. Go check out that episode. The link's in the show notes. Section 3, guys, of the things we are covering. Here we go. There are a lot of things people will advise you on when they find out you're going to be a father. You're going to get a ridiculous amount of advice. And some of those tips are absolutely useful, and a lot of them are absolute junk because they don't account anything for who you are, who your wife is, and it's people are mean really well, but really there's a lot of these tips people are going to throw at you that you're just like, right. So I've got in this section 5 actually useful tips for when the baby arrives that I promise you are actually useful and are universal. Okay. So number 1, when changing diapers. Okay. A lot of guys that never change diapers until they get their first kid. But here is something I learned from the forums and stuff that I hang out with other men. If you take a wipe, right, before you take the diaper off, you take a wipe and gently, circularly rub that area between the belly button and the pubis region, right, just above their private areas. That's the pubis region. Okay. If you gently rub that with a wet wipe in a circular motion for 10 or 15 seconds and then blow on it with a little bit of cool air before fully removing the diaper, this will actually trigger the baby to go ahead and pee while the diaper is still on. Now, everybody has seen funny clips of babies peeing on people. It's a lot cuter when it's somebody else. It's not near as entertaining when it's you. So this skill actually lowers your chance of unwanted showers or big messes when you're changing a poopy diaper by about 97%, guys. Like I found an entire just thread on this. And people are like, oh yeah, man, it's the best thing I ever did. I've never been peed on ever. Right. So I absolutely still recommend laying a wet wipe over a little boy's genital areas when you're cleaning up the rest of him, because he is bound and determined to try and get you at least once. But gently rubbing that area with a wet wipe and then blowing a little cool air and letting them pee in the diaper before you take it off to clean them up is amazing, and it will make your life better because you will wear a lot less urine. Now, with boys, wipe front to back or back to front. With girls, wipe front to back. And guys, uncomfortable conversation for fathers with daughters It's critical to get them clean, especially little girls. They tell you to keep poop and stuff out of the vagina. Well, what they don't tell you is poop in diapers gets everywhere and it covers their whole region. So guys, you've got to make sure you get your daughters clean, or it's really, really bad for them and really miserable for you all once it starts to get bad for them. So remember, certain directions, right? With boys, back to front. With girls, front to back, and make sure they're both very clean. It will cut down on the crying and screaming, and it will make you all much happier. Number 2, you don't need a bunch of stuff. And it, even more so, doesn't actually have to be new. There's a lot of pressure as a parent to buy a bunch of new crap for your kid. Well, guess what? Your kid's going to go through it really fast, especially clothes. Like, they're going to go through clothes like they're going out of style. So secondhand, thirdhand, and there are all kinds of great things. My wife used to go to these big area-wide things, and they're basically like giant flea markets at like carnivals where people bring and sell their gently used stuff, because kids go through a lot of it and they go through it fast. Your kid doesn't stay in the same size long. You don't need a bunch of new stuff. I kid you not. Okay. I ended up, after my 2 daughters, we gave away easily $3,000 worth of barely used baby stuff. We had the nice trash can that wraps it for you and this and that. And guys, we didn't use 98% of the stuff. Completely useless. You don't really need it. And you're not going to use it long anyway. So don't buy into that. I will tell you 2 things I found that are truly indispensable when the baby is first born. One is a wipe warmer. It's a plastic box that you put the wipes in and it heats them. And really cold wipes on a sleepy baby that's not crying is a recipe for screaming in tears. It will totally screw up you putting the baby down for a nap. So wipe warmer, amazing investment. The other thing, my wife got a Moby wrap, which is a really long piece of material. It's a specific brand, but I think there's other brands. But you like wrap it around you and the baby sits in it. We could both wear it. We could both carry the baby in it. It was useful to my wife when she was nursing while we were out in public. It was more comfortable for her and held the baby in the right position. So those are the 2 really super useful things we got for when the baby was first born. Eventually, we got a really nice Kelty baby backpack because we like to walk with the kid. And I absolutely recommend one of those. The rest of the crap we have for our kids was basically utterly useless and expensive. So don't buy into it. You don't need all the crap. Number 3, I wish somebody had, and you know what? In hindsight, someone probably tried to explain this to me and I just missed it. So let me try and explain it to you and you'll forget because it's going to be stressful. Number 3 is kids cry. Early on, when you get home with that baby, you're both going to be losing your mind because the kid's going to be screaming like a banshee, and it's going to be fed and clean and being held and warm, and it doesn't want a bottle and nothing seems wrong. And you're going to worry that they're sick. You're going to pull out the thermometer. You're going to call one mom or the other or both. You're going to discuss whether you should call the doctor or not, or take them to the hospital. Be freaking out that something is truly wrong with your baby. Babies cry. They have limited abilities to express themselves, but truly, sometimes they just cry for no reason. You're not a bad parent. You didn't do something wrong, but it's going to freak you out. The stress levels are going to go through the roof. It is okay to put the baby down in the crib, especially if it's not very mobile, and step out of the room for a minute and go to the bathroom, take a drink of hot coffee, walk away for 2 minutes. The baby's still going to be crying. You're going to feel horrible as a parent for it, but it's okay. You're not a bad parent. Put the baby down, go take a leak, come back. Sometimes babies just cry. If everything seems normal and you can't explain it, except this is a possibility. Number 4, gentlemen, skin to skin contact. Now, if your wife is nursing, she's going to get this automatically. But what they don't tell you in the doctor's office or when you're getting ready to have a baby is it's actually really beneficial for dads and the babies to have skin-to-skin contact as well. This builds a stronger connection between you and the child. My children took a lot of naps in nothing but a diaper on my bare chest, on the couch or in the bed or wherever. They spent a lot of time sleeping right on my chest, skin to skin, because I needed that skin to skin contact time with them. It was good for them. It was good for me. And you'll find out it's really hard to explain sometimes, but it's really good for your connection with the child. We actually went a step farther. I took my daughters for showers. Gave my wife a break for a few minutes. Usually she was in the bathroom with me or just outside of the bathroom with the door open so I could yell when I needed help. That way I could hand the wet baby out into a waiting towel. But my daughters never took baths. They took showers with me. Just when I needed a shower, they got in the shower with me and they got cleaned. My wife was anxious about the idea of trying to hold a slippery wet baby. And so she really was not wanting to have to deal with that anyway. So that was something I could do as a father. I got skin to skin contact time with my children. My wife got a few minutes breather where she wasn't holding the baby. And any mother who is nursing knows you spend a lot of time holding that baby. So we could talk while I watch the girls, or my wife would stick her head in and watch me watch the girls, because our girls love the hot water. They would sit there and just giggle and laugh, and they loved being held in the warm water. It was a great bonding time when they were little. Guys, it worked out great for them. It worked out great for me. It worked out great for my wife. But that skin to skin contact, whether it's with naps or with taking showers with them, however you get it, is very, very important to build a deeper bond with you and the child. So absolutely do that. And the fifth thing I want to share with you that you absolutely need to know, pieces of advice, your kids are going to make you angry. Now, this isn't so much advice as in truth, because I want you to be aware. Truthfully, your kids will make you incredibly angry, and it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad parent. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't feel guilty, and you will. I know I did. No one tells you in parenting classes that you will be irate at moments with your child, that you just want to scream and throw your fist in the air. Okay. Now, obviously it's important that you don't react to that, but you're not actually mad at the kid and you don't actually hate your child. You may feel like it at the moment, but that's not what's actually happening. You're tired, and I mean really tired. You only thought you could get tired before. You need a minute of peace. You probably need a shower. You may not have eaten a hot food meal in days. You're frustrated and you just are worn to the wit's end, and it comes out as anger. You don't hate your children. You're not actually angry at them. You're just worn to a frazzle. Now, guys, reference the build good habits and kids cry for no reason sections. This is where it's really important to slow down the process, the situation, and realize you're a team. So focus on those good habits you were building, where you already have this good habit of eating better and taking care of yourself and maintaining a healthy schedule, strong schedule, and work together for each person to get their basic needs, their hot foods, their showers, their exercise, their sleep. You will be surprised how less angry, right, you are if you only got a shower and a few minutes of peace. So understand they will make you angry, but it's more the situation, but you're going to feel guilty about it. It's okay. Every parent goes through this, and you're going to be just fine. You got this. Now, gentlemen, congratulations on embarking on this remarkable journey into fatherhood. It's a time filled with excitement and joy and a fair share of uncertainties. But remember, every fear and doubt you have is completely normal. As you and your spouse navigate this new chapter together, lean on each other for support, reassurance, keep those lines of communication open, embrace the changes, and prioritize your relationship, because your relationship being strong is what's going to take care of that child for the long run. Fatherhood's a continuous learning experience, so just embrace it. You're already taking proactive steps to be the best dad you can because you're already seeking out advice and preparing for what's to come. If you were a bad dad, you wouldn't be here listening to this show. You're looking for solutions because you're already worried about it. It's because you already have the makings of being a great dad. Now, if you found this helpful, be sure and share it with a friend and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us get out in front of more people. If you are ready to dive a little deeper, I've got 3 shows listed for you down in the show notes, guys. That's your next jump off point to help you if this is where you're at in your journey. Those shows will help you get a little deeper into this. I promise you got this, Dad. You're going to do great. Be better tomorrow because what you do today, we'll see you on the next one.
This has been the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for everything man, husband, and father. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a show. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com for more content and get your own Fallible Man gear.